Welcome to this episode of my VA disability claim. All right, today we're just going to do a poster presentation about the three elements of service connection. Right? Service connection, that is why your claim gets approved. They deem it to be service connected. And with this poster presentation, it gives you all the components, right, of the whole concept that we teach. These three elements of service connection, right? Number one, documentation of that in-service event or of the in-service diagnosis. All right, so let's say you file a claim and it gets denied, and what they say is we see no in-service event, right? You file a knee claim, they deny it, and they say there is no evidence of an in-service event. What that means is they don't have the records showing where you hurt your knee while you were in the service, or incident report showing that you had an accident that hurt your knee. That's what they're referring to when they say no in-service event or no in-service diagnosis, right? Those things that happen in service could be doctor records, could be police reports, incident reports, based on whatever that incident is, right? So that's the first element of service connection. Number two, a current documented medical diagnosis showing the chronic condition that you are filing for. In order to get your claim approved, they're going to need a current medical diagnosis. Now, what's important to note is that when you file a claim, you don't necessarily need to have a current medical diagnosis at that time. Let's say, for example, you've separated from the service and you haven't been to the doctor since you separated. You can still file that claim, right? So what you want to do is on that 4138, right? When you submit your claim, you also want to submit a 21-4138 with it. And on that 4138, right, we already showed you the format in one of our earlier videos, one of the 4138 videos, showing that format. My name is, I'm filing for this condition because of an incident or diagnosis that I had in the service. Due to that incident, I'm currently experiencing, and you list out the symptoms, right? When you write that 4138, you want to list out the in-service event or diagnosis, whatever happened that initially caused the condition, and then you want to list out also your current symptoms and that you've been dealing with this since you separated, right? So let's say you separated 20 years ago and you haven't been to the doctor. You want to submit that 4138, and that is the language that you want to put on there, right? And again, check out the earlier videos. It goes a little more in detail about it. So that's number two, that medical diagnosis. Number three, evidence of a connection between the in-service diagnosis or in-service event and the current medical diagnosis, right? This is referred to as a nexus link. In that decision letter, when they talk about there's no nexus, this is what they're talking about, right? Because every condition that gets approved by the VA must be a chronic condition, meaning it's something that you've been dealing with for an extended period of time and you continue to deal with it, right? Chronicity. So with that nexus, in the absence of going to the doctor, let's say again, separated for 20 years. In those 20 years, I haven't gone to the doctor, right? Keep in mind, one way to show chronicity is to go to the doctor at least once a year over those 20 years, showing that, hey, I was dealing with this when I separated. Obviously, I've been dealing with it the whole time, right? But let's say you don't have those doctor visits. In that situation, that's where the 4138 comes in handy to help you trigger an exam. But what you would have to do, again, is list the in-service event, right? What took place, and also list the symptoms that you've been dealing with since separation and that you are currently dealing with. All right? So that's that third element, the evidence of a connection. My back is itching. That's that third element, man, the evidence of that nexus or connection, right? Nexus link. That's the third element of service connection. Number one, that in-service event or diagnosis. Number two, your current medical diagnosis. And then number three, that connection between the two. All right, now bottom left of the poster presentation, check the rating schedule. This is for when you're filing for an increase or when you're filing for service connection. You want to get familiar with this rating schedule, all right, because that's what they're looking at to rate your conditions, right? So that gives you an inside track, inside information. This is exactly what they're looking for. That's why we stress check the rating schedule. You can just Google it, ECFR 38 Part 4. Google it, bingo, bongo, you're in there, right? Control F, that's the find function when you get in the rating schedule. If you want to look for migraines, just do Control F, type out migraines, and then it'll show you every instance within that document. File within 1 year of separation, and service connection is presumed. It's automatic, right? So if you know someone about to separate, hey, let them know. Please pass along the information. File for whatever you're dealing with. It'll be automatically service connected. And then on that bottom right, more likely than not, right? When you talk about those nexus letters, right? The letter from the doctor, that's the magic phrase that you want in there. More likely than not. Let your doctor know they do not have to say with certainty. Just has to be over 50%. More likely than not likely, right? Based on the medical evidence that I reviewed, I would say it is more likely than not that Mr. Whatever's knee condition is related to the fall he had in the service while he was stationed at XYZ base, right? More likely than not. That's the magic phrase. And that's it, right? Again, this poster presentation, this is one that we could take 45 minutes to an hour on when we have an audience, right? And we're talking to folks, answering questions. But this will be the core to everything that we do within this lane of VA disability. This is the foundation, right? These three elements of service connection, the rating schedule, using that as your weapon, and then understanding that more likely than not, and then filing within 1 year, make it easier for yourself. This is the backbone to everything that we're going to do within this space of VA disability claims. We're going to continue to provide valuable information, continue to learn it, continue to use it, and if you deem it to be valuable, continue to share it. All right? Hey, the more knowledge we all have, the better things are for each of us. All right? So that's it, man. As always, continue to explore the most fascinating thing about your life. You.